Today, I'm gonna be taking the Streamlight Microstream to its limit. You want it? You want it? Go get it. So right here in front of me, what I have is a Streamlight Microstream, or what was once a Microstream. Now, just because it's in pieces, it doesn't mean it failed this test. It is actually extremely durable. The one I carry every day for my everyday use, it refuses to die regardless of how I treat it. So I bought myself a brand new one and kind of abused it. I started with what I think are real world relevant tests and just kind of worked my way up to the more extreme tests. So the first thing I did is something I've done with my everyday carry light, this one, multiple times. I washed it in the washing machine. So I'll forget it in my pocket, throw it in the washing machine inside my pants, and come to discover that I forgot to take it out. So this test kind of simulated that. I ran it through the washing machine 4 times, and unsurprisingly, it just came out cleaner. There's no water in the lens, in the battery compartment, in the cap compartment, nothing like that. So a couple wash cycles and it was still good to go. So another relevant test I did was a drop test. Now, I took this thing and I dropped it on its side 100 times, on the lens 100 times, and on the cap, the button 100 times. I did this from about pocket height, kind of simulating if you were to drop it out of your pocket. Afterwards, it still worked completely fine, just cosmetic damage. So from there, I stepped it up a little bit. I did a crush test. Now, I used my car tire for this. I wanted to see how sturdy this aluminum body was, if it could take the weight of a car. I rolled it over, let the tire rest on the light itself, let it sit there a little bit, confirmed that it wasn't bending, and then I proceeded to roll back and forth over it. It was about 5 times. So again, that had no damage to it other than cosmetic. So obviously still worked afterwards. It just put some pretty good gouges from being pressed into the concrete. But that was actually a good show of strength that the body could take some good pressure in case, you ever ran it over with the car yourself, or whatever scenario it got crushed. It really shows the durability of it. So the next test was a little bit unique. I basically tied it to the collar of my dog and let her run around dragging it along with her. So this was a good test of actually the dust proof, seeing if any dust got anywhere, damaged anything, abrasion, kind of see how the finish did, and also just impact in general. I only did this test for a short period of time because I didn't want my dog to get tangled up in the fishing line and stuff. It seemed a little sketchy to me, but cool test nonetheless. Another similar test that I actually was kind of doing throughout all my other testing is when I had the opportunity, I would just drop it and kick it along the ground. I don't know, I probably kicked this thing for a total of a mile, maybe more. I wasn't keeping track of that, but this thing just got kicked along the concrete. Again, test the impact, test the body, test a whole bunch of stuff, just pure abuse to the light to see if it had any weak points. So at this point, I was getting pretty impressed with this light. I wanted to step it up a little bit. By now, I would hope most good quality lights could, up till now, take this kind of testing, this abuse. So again, stepped it up, and I actually tied it to my trailer hitch, and I dragged it for a total of a mile down a road at about 20 to 25 miles an hour. Now this test again didn't hurt the light. Actually, the only thing it did hurt was my bumper. So again, this light was unaffected, still functioned perfectly fine. Now after all this abuse, I wanted to test the waterproofness again and see how it reacted to cold and hot cycles. So I threw it in my freezer, so it got frozen, encapsulated in ice, got nice and cold, and then brought it out and de-thawed it. straight after that morning, I placed it on my dashboard on a 90, 95 degree day, and I let that sucker cook there. It got to a high about 140 on the dashboard. I'm guessing the light got much hotter than that. After sitting on my dashboard all day, I did another test with freezing it. So we're going through those hot and cold cycles. And this time, you know, I thought the first de-thawing of this thing was a little weak, so I stepped it up a little bit. Oh, yeah, we want retribution! Oh, yeah, we want retribution! Yeah, we ran out of... So after all this, for the next couple days, I was trying to think of more creative tests I could do. So when I went for walks, I was just tossing this thing in the air, letting it hit the ground over and over again. It did about, I'd say about 20 to 30 tosses at about 20 to 30 feet high. And I was getting some flickering in the light. It was turning on as it was hitting the ground, but the button would still work, still activate. It was still functioning. Now, one of these days, I got a little carried away. I wanted to see how tough the glass was because I was surprised the glass was not shattering. And on about the 5th NFL spike, it decided to rapidly disassemble. So at this point, I was thinking, yeah, you know, I overdid it. Not a real world test, but I was still shocked nonetheless. It took 5 spikes to, you know, to do anything to this. And to my surprise, after, you know, this thing just separated all over the ground, the glass on this is still completely intact, which, to be honest, it's amazing because the head of this light is actually bent, so somehow the glass is just hanging in there. This thing took an absolute beating. I don't think it's fair to say this thing isn't tough when I intentionally spiked it on the ground as hard as I could 5 times in a row. So right now, I'm going to take a closer look at the damage we have going on with this light. I'm going to first start with the head. Like I mentioned before, the head is actually a little bit bent, and it has some absolutely huge gouges in it. It probably would almost cut you how sharp and deep some of these gouges are in the head of this light. Once again, the glass is still perfectly intact. It's got some good scratches in it, but again, not cracked, not broken, still there. So moving down to the body. Now, something I noticed is, I believe this happened after I was hitting it with a hammer to get it out of some of the ice. There's a two good dents, which would make sense in the body of the light. Now, when I tried to take the battery out from when this exploded on the ground, you could see there was a lot of pressure. Like, I can't even get the battery in right now because of how bent it was, but I did get the battery out. So the body did bend, but again, that was from a hammer. Now, something I want to point out, the finish on this light is incredible. Now, taking a look at the light I still use today, you could see kind of how worn the finish is here because it's been going in and out of my pocket for years. But if you take something like pliers or a knife, scratching this is incredibly hard. So the rust is just wiping off onto this light. So see this scratch right here? That's just rust, and it barely did anything. So it takes a lot to kind of take the finish off of this light, which is impressive. So there we got some rust on there from me trying to scratch it, and I'm just going to rub it off, and I just see one kind of light scratch on there. So the finish on this is impressive. So I want to point out where this thing failed at. So I right now am unscrewing the threads. Now, this is not supposed to be connected to this part. What this is the threaded area right here to the body of the light itself. So it's supposed to sit like this on the body. There we go. Just for demonstration purposes. That's where it's supposed to sit. and it actually snapped and failed right here, which made me realize how thin the threaded part is here. I'm surprised it didn't fail earlier, but yeah, I was totally expecting either the lens to crack or the button to break, which in fact the button did break. If we open this up here, you can see the button kind of got cracked, and it's supposed to be attached to the switch. Oh, there goes the spring. So there's a tiny spring here, and honestly, this might actually still work if I push the button right there. This could actually still work if the body and the threads were still intact, but we'll never get to find out. The clip's fine. I mean, no damage to it. I'm actually going to replace it with mine because mine actually got bent. So new clip for me. And the last thing to touch on is the O-ring. Here's what's left of the O-ring. So I don't know where the other half of it is. Maybe still inside the switch, which doesn't look like it is. So yeah, there is the full disassembled, demolished Streamlight Microstream. So if you have any questions, put those down in the comments. If you have suggestions on other things you want to see tested, also suggest those down in the comments. And other than that, I will see you in the next video.